All these coaches out there preaching to parents, quit everything and homeschool them and put them in this. Like, it's all wrong because I bought into it as a parent. I drank the Kool-Aid. Someone asked me, they said, how does it feel to lose?
Oh my God.
And
that's a crazy question.
It's fine. As a mother, I think one of the greatest things that happened to adolescent sports was witnessing on a global stage Simone say, my health is more important than the performance. And when she bowed out.
Welcome back to another episode of Barrier Breakers, where today I'm lucky enough to be sitting down with an athlete that has the craziest resume I've ever seen. She's a 4-time Olympic medalist, one of them being gold, a 5-time Pan American medalist and world champion. She's a New York Times bestseller. She's an entrepreneur. She's a content creator, a Dancing with the Stars champion, Shawn Johnson East. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me
I'm
on.
so excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna jump into our first segment.
Great.
This is called Real Talk. So I wanna get to know the real Shawn here.
Everything.
So my first question is that you obviously made it to the Olympics at the age 16. What did a typical day of gymnastics look for you before the Olympics?
A normal day for me looked drastically different.
Okay.
My coach was born in China, had a very stereotypical upbringing in China for being a world level competing gymnast in China. And he had this American dream of coming to the United States and starting a gymnastics facility and raising these kids who were successful in gymnastics,
right,
who also had a social life. So the most I ever trained leading up to the Olympics was about 20 hours a week.
Wow.
I did 4 hours, 5 days a week, and that was it. And I went to public school full day. I went to football games after practice. I had my blizzards all the time. I mean,
that's crazy.
I was just a kid.
Even just nowadays, kids being brought up in athletics, I think it's so insane.
Awful.
Where it's you have to specialize in one thing from such a young age, and it's you have to do all these extra trainings and everything to try to make it to the highest level, and it's you can't even be a kid anymore. And even I think that's where people lose a lot of love for the game, is when they have to specialize in something so young.
I think it's such a toxic culture right now for kids. And it's really sad because kids should be playing.
No, I agree.
They should be trying everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when they get to college, maybe try to figure out what they would want to do
right,
in that age, but they don't have to be worrying about it. And all these coaches out there preaching to parents quit everything and homeschool them and put them in this 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week at the age of 6. It's all wrong.
I know. And I can imagine, you're a mother now as well.
Yeah.
And it's you want the best for your kid. And it's if they're telling you your kid has all this potential, it's you almost buy into it.
We've just experienced this. And
okay.
I had to reality check myself because I bought into it as a parent. One of my kids got scouted for a sport that they're in. And I bought into it. And I drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. People do it all the time.
I was oh my gosh. They were pushing multiple practices and all this
right,
time. And I'm she's 5. And
oh my gosh, she's 5 years old.
She's 5.
Oh my
and
God.
Ultimately, I had to get rid of all the noise. I've been observing her. And she hasn't even mentioned the sport once in 3 weeks. And so we pulled her out of it. And I was this is just ridiculous.
Right.
I can't believe I bought into this Kool-Aid.
It's so easy to buy into it, though, because it's I'm being told all the things that, the right things. And it's
She's
this could
5.
be great for her future. But then it's wait, we gotta check ourselves a little bit
It's
here.
crazy.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of your coach.
Yes.
Your coach never lets you look at the score.
Never.
Oh, so tell me about that.
My coach, who is the greatest, I always called him a second dad. He's still in Des Moines, Iowa, Chow. He had this philosophy in coaching that everything was about your personal performance and not about a subjective opinion. So in gymnastics, the judges' scoring is subjective. So we're not crossing a finish line. It's all about how they perceive your performance.
Right.
And so in the gym, we were always taught to self-reflect on what we could do better and what is our best versus what could be improved upon. And even after competitions were over, if we were wearing the first place medal,
right,
he would still ask the same question of how do you think you did? And we would always have these giggles sometimes of me and my teammates would be wearing first place medals and we'd be you know what? It wasn't great.
Oh, wow.
I made mistakes and I could do better at this and I could do better at that. But it was a beautiful life lesson that he taught me at such a young age to say, people have their opinions of you and they can say you're absolutely perfect, but you will actually know you're not, or vice versa. They might criticize you on your best day, but you know that it was your best day. And that's all that kind of really matters.
Yeah, he seems like a great coach.
He's the best.
But now, obviously, going to your Olympics, the 2008 Olympics journey. So tell me what that was like leading up to it. I know you were living with all your teammates. Tell me something that maybe people don't know about what it's like to be at the Olympics?
I don't know. It's always hard to explain because for me personally, in my experience, I tried to kind of like shut my brain off, numb myself from like what was going on. I mean that in the sense of like I didn't want to be able to absorb the magnitude of the situation until I was done competing.
Right.
And gymnastics is interesting because it pretty much goes start to finish with the Olympics. So there's no playing around. There's no going to other events.
So it's really like the whole time you're there is like the competition.
Yes. For our Olympics, we were very kind of secluded. And we just kind of hung out in the village, in our rooms, in the cafeteria as young girls and watched movies.
That's so fun.
Went to training and didn't allow ourselves to kind of see how big it all was until we were done.
I feel like that's the best way to do it though, because it's like, yes, you've made it, but it's like, okay, now now I'm gonna go out and win. Like I'm gonna get a medal.
It is interesting to reflect back on though, because being a kid there and being so beautifully naive and doing that, like staying in my zone and in my job, I don't remember a lot of it.
Really?
No, because I was trying so hard to like tunnel vision myself.
Yeah.
That
as a 16-year-old too.
As a 16-year-old, that I just don't remember a lot of it.
That's crazy.
Which is great. I did a good job.
No, you did a fantastic job.
I did a good job staying in tunnel vision, but I wish I would have experienced it a little bit more, but then maybe I wouldn't have performed as well. So
right. I think it's a balance. It's like a balance. Yeah. So I love this one story that you tell. Where because you don't look at the score, but then when the Olympics come around, that one event that's like supposed to be your best event, you looked at the score and you realized that you couldn't get the gold.
I would look at scores after the fact, but never during the competition. During the all around, which was like what I had trained for, that was my thing. It was always Nastia, Liukin, and I. We were always 1 and 2. And I remember looking at the score right before my last event. So I did the calculations.
Okay.
And I figured out before I even performed that I couldn't win. And I remember just thinking to myself before I went out, should I go out at all? Because I know the world is already being told by, the broadcasters that no matter what, I can't win. But then part of me was like relieved because in that moment, it was actually not for anything. It was literally just for myself. And it's like I felt for the first time what my coach was protecting me from was like subjective opinion. And because I knew I couldn't win, I kind of just went out and played. It was the best performance, one of the best performances I've ever done. And I just felt like a kid again. It's like the job side of it was gone. And I was back to being the kid that fell in love with gymnastics. And I remember the first interview I did after the all around, someone asked me, they said, how does it feel to lose?
Oh my God.
And
that's a crazy question.
It's fine. And I remember just saying to this lady, I was like, you know what? I didn't lose. The United States won first and second for the first time, which is so great. And I was so proud of Nastia, and it was a great moment.
Are you and Nastia still close and everything? That's so great.
Yes. Yep. She was at my wedding. She's met my kids. We're trying to plan another trip this year. So we lived together for a while in LA. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So tell me about actually winning the gold. So what that was like.
Winning the gold, it was not my best day. I was off, and it was the very last day of competition for me to close out my Olympics. And I was tired. I was so run down. And so going into that competition, I was not at top shape. I was struggling. Back in the warm-up gym, I was a hot mess. I was falling all over the place. I couldn't make a routine before I went out. And it was bad. It was like bad.
And then you like get in your head too. I feel
like and my coach panicked. He got to a place where he was also trying to protect me because I was like, you're throwing around these skills on a 4-inch beam. And I was so tired. He was trying to figure out what move to make and strategically how to protect me. So I run out and I ended up competing and I made it. And I finished my like dismount and we're like waiting down on the floor and like the last girl goes up. And up until that moment, we had the team competition, which we came in second. I went on to do the all around. I came in second. And then I went to the floor and I came in second. And in my head, I'm like, I'm getting second. And my coach and I turn around and we look at the scoreboard and there's number 1 by my name. And it was that moment where we looked at each other and we started giggling because he looked at me and he's like, wasn't your best? And I looked at him and I was like, wasn't my best. I knew I could have done so much better, but to finally like secure a gold.
But hey, in that day, that was the best.
That was the best.
We'll take it.
So it was a fun fun moment because the silvers were so heavy on me and meant so much, and the gold was so light and able to like joke with that it was a special moment.
So let's talk about life after gymnastics though.
Yes.
So obviously you were so successful in 2008, coming off of those Olympics. You were like, everyone was talking about you. They were like, this is the girl. You were basically like going to compete in the next Olympics. Like that was the goal.
So I technically retired, the first time in 2008, right after I was done competing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was done. I had kind of completed everything that I wanted in gymnastics, and I said goodbye. I truly believed after the Olympics, I would go back to high school. I would go to college where I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, no way. That's a crazy
That's
job.
all I wanted to do. That was my dream.
Wow.
Almost more so than the Olympics. It was to be a surgeon.
That's crazy.
But then I got thrown into this world of like Dancing with the Stars and Secret Life of the American Teenager and like all these random things.
Wait.
Yes.
Oh my God. You were in that.
Oh, it's the worst moment ever.
That's so crazy because I watched that show and I did not put that together until you just said that.
It's the cringiest thing you'll ever watch in your life.
Wait, that's so insane.
Anyways, I digress. Where was I? Okay. So I went back to high school, finished high school, everything, and I just felt very lost in life. I was 18 or 17 at the time, and I hate to use that word, but I felt like I was kind of getting into a world of depression. I didn't know like what to do. I didn't know the next step. I kept deferring college at that time because things were I was so busy with speaking and press. It was my 18th birthday. I went skiing. My coach had one very strict rule when I competed. He said you could go do anything you want outside of gymnastics. You could horseback ride, you could play soccer, you can like do whatever you want, but you cannot ski. So when I retired, I was like, I have to learn how to ski now because I'm stubborn. But it was very stereotypical, cliche moment, last day, last run. My ski didn't come off on a small fall. I tore everything in my knee. And I remember just sitting on the mountain of the ski slope thinking, what if I can never do gymnastics again? And in my mind, it was kind of this like aha moment that maybe I wasn't done in gymnastics. Full circle moment. I make it back to Pan American Games. I make it back to the world stage. I rehabbed my knee back. I felt stronger than ever. I got my mind back in a good place. And it was honestly around Olympic trials getting ready for 2012. I just kind of lost the heart for the sport. Like plain as day. It wasn't about injuries at the time, nothing. I just fell out of love with it. And I knew it was my time to say goodbye and let someone else take it. And I'm glad I did because it's how I met my husband. So I retired right before Olympic trials and ended up going as a correspondent to watch and work with the Today Show at the time for the 2012 games, which was great.
Oh, that's awesome. That you were still, even though you didn't go as an athlete, you were still like connected. And
I didn't feel like I was missing out. Like even sitting in the stands, watching the girls compete, I knew that's where I was supposed to be. Like, I didn't feel like I was supposed to be on the floor or supposed to be on that team. My time was done.
So you felt like you had the proper closure as opposed to, like, maybe feeling like a guilt or, like, a resentment or...
I really did.
What's the connection with the Dancing with the Stars? What's that connection?
So after the 2008 Olympics, I did an interview. They were going through a laundry list of like, what's your favorite food and what's your favorite color and what's your favorite TV show? And I said Dancing with the Stars. And the next day I get a call from Dancing with the Stars saying, can you come out and watch a show live? Ooh. And I was like, this is a dream.
Like, yeah.
And after the show was done, sitting in the audience, they brought me back into like a boardroom with all the producers, and they're like, we have never done this before, because they had never had a minor on the show.
Oh, shoot, I forgot.
But they said, we'd love to figure out if this is something you're interested in. We'd love to have you on the show.
Also, I found it interesting because I feel like you said about Dancing with the Stars, like, it felt almost less, like, more free and, like, less regimented. And I feel like everyone who goes on the show, though, is like, it's so intense. Like, our bodies are getting crushed. But I guess as a gymnast, you're probably used to, like, doing stuff with your bodies that other maybe athletes or celebrities like are not used to doing.
The physical part is definitely grueling.
Yeah.
But I was used to that.
Right.
What I felt so free in at Dancing with the Stars was the personality side. Gymnastics in my generation was very stoic and was very controlled, and like you showed no emotion, and you had to operate and give this like facade of being like a machine, like unbreakable. Dancing with the Stars was the opposite. They wanted every emotion out of you. They wanted to know your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses and what made you sad. And it was the first time I felt like I could just kind of take a breath, and it was okay to cry and it was okay to show emotion. And I hadn't really experienced that yet. So that was kind of opened me up to be a human being.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So, yeah, we talked about your husband a little bit.
Yes.
So,
The better half.
You guys do content creation together.
Yes.
So, you have a YouTube channel, multiple shows. Who's the main person here?
It
Is it Shawn behind the camera directing, or we got Andrew? What's the
It
deal?
is all my husband.
Wow, Andrew.
He is the creative guy. I have ideas, but he's like, he can make anything happen. I get very paralyzed by perfection.
Oh,
So-
same. Feel that.
I can't launch something, start something, post something, do something unless it's perfect. And he is the far opposite. And it's such a beautiful quality that he has where he's not limited by opinions of anybody and he doesn't care. It's very freeing with him to be like, you know what? I will take my hand off the steering wheel and like let you be creative and do this thing because it's working and we're having fun. And he's created a huge business out of this and he's a genius.
I feel like you guys probably balance each other out nicely too. With
It's really nice, but we also butt heads a lot because
yeah, well, I mean, sometimes that's the best dynamic
Yeah.
though because it challenges each other as well.
it is. He's
Yeah.
my best friend. We're partners in our business. We, parent together, do everything together.
Right.
Spend every waking second together.
So speaking of, different ventures and things that you're a part of, talk to me about Beam Kids because this is very exciting.
Beam Kids.
Yeah.
This was a passion project dream I had for about 6 years. It took about 6 years to make. I learned very quickly as a mom to toddlers that like the supplement world is lacking. To cover all of their nutritional gaps, you would have to get like 4 different supplements. And I was like, there's got to be something better. I found the most amazing partner, which is Beam, and we created the cleanest, most amazing tasting chocolate mixture, and it's all in one. So it's a prebiotic, probiotic, multivitamin, and a greens like blend all in one. I love the ease as a parent of knowing that I can kind of give that to them and fill their nutritional gaps.
What have you gained from like creating this sort of business for yourself?
The full story is like I selfishly made it for my children. I worked with our pediatrician. I worked with our dietitian, people that I have sourced and truly trust everything that they say. And then it was after we made it for my kids and they had been taking it for like 6 months. We were like, maybe we should like put this out there.
Yeah,
'Cause
other kids
they
will like
love it. They're doing really well with it. Like we're seeing differences with them, with their health. And like we decided to put it out to market and it's been wonderful. The reviews are incredible, which is
Yay. So everyone get it.
Yeah,
Plug it
go
right now.
get it.
Everyone go
It's
get
great
it.
for your
If you have
kids.
kids, seems like the
Yeah.
perfect thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I think we're going to go into our next
Great.
segment now, which is
Great.
called Breaking Out. So you've obviously had like an insane, unique career, very well decorated, but then also like leaned into things that made you you and were like a passion to you. Do you think that's like the direction that we should be going in, like really embracing ourselves, especially on the like
Yeah.
women's sports side?
I think that's the direction we should be going in.
Yeah.
After I retired, I knew I didn't want to stay in gymnastics. The kind of traditional route of Olympic or elite gymnasts at the time in our past generations was to stay in the sport. It was to become, coaches or open gyms or, just to stay in it. And I think because I had a coach and I had parents who really pushed other things on me, they didn't want it to always be about just gymnastics. When I was done, I had other interests and other hobbies. And I knew that I loved gymnastics and I'd always be a cheerleader, but my life wasn't going to stay there. And I didn't know what that would look like. I didn't think it would look like this, but this is a dream. I feel like I truly am living out a dream that I had and I didn't know it was ever possible, but I love sports. And so now being able to be an investor in women's sports and go to, Angel City games and go to professional volleyball games and, sit at all these tables where I get to just play in sports as a businesswoman is so much fun. And I think seeing more female athletes leverage their clout to be a cheerleader within sports is really cool. And it's really fun. I don't think you have to stay in one. We respect each other's fields so much. We should be able to cross over.
So what's been your reaction to the past, couple years seeing women get more of the spotlight?
I'm so excited.
Me too.
As being, I think about when I was a little girl. I really didn't feel like there were many opportunities in sport for me after I competed in gymnastics. But now as a mother to a daughter who loves sports, she wants to do all these different things. It's really cool to see this movement happening where she will now have options. She can look at volleyball and basketball and soccer and see an actual career that can last. This is my job and it's my responsibility to open up more doors so that when she becomes a high school girl and she starts looking at the future of her life, she can do more than what she has like open to her right now.
So obviously gymnastics, though, you know, you start at such a young age. There's so much attention, pressure. I think mental health has come a long way, especially from like 2008 to now. We saw Simone had to even make the decision to sit out of the Olympics, which was just best for her. What is your opinion on now the way we're approaching like mental health?
As a mother, I think one of the greatest things that happened to adolescent sports and to professional athletes and just any athlete out there was witnessing on a global stage Simone say, my health is more important than the performance.
Right.
And when she bowed out. I think a lot of people had opinions about that. But as a parent, I got to see an athlete say, my health is more important and my safety is more important than this medal. I'm going to protect myself, and being able to show that to my kids now and say, look at Simone Biles. She actually said this isn't safe for her right now, and this is more important to keep her like her body safe than it is to like just push through it. And I think her spearheading this whole, I think truly she helped spearhead the entire mental health movement is incredible. And it's a movement that I think will forever change, you know, all the generations to come, because it's showing just an importance in both. I feel like for so long we valued only physical attributes and physical strength and physical talent. And now it's being clearly shown that you have to have both and you have to protect both.
Yeah, and it just takes one person to like break the status quo there. But just because you bow out of one thing, it doesn't make you any less than. It doesn't make you less of an amazing athlete that you are, less of a champion because you chose to do that. If what she did was more powerful in the sense of what she is doing for like future generations.
But I also want to hug her now as a mom and say thank you for like just showing everybody how important it is.
And I always ask in this section.
Yes.
Do you think you're a barrier breaker?
I always dreamt of wanting to be. I always wanted to push barriers and break them. I would say I haven't been able to do it without the help of teams, whether it be my coach, my parents, my mentors, or my husband. But yes.
I think you are.
Thank you.
So this is called the social wheel.
Yes.
So here's the beautiful wheel.
Love it.
So I'm going to spin it, and associated with each one is a question.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. Tell me what it lands on because I cannot see it.
Instagram.
Yay. Okay, Instagram. Who's the craziest person that slid into your DMs on Instagram?
Oh, I have an answer, but I can't say it.
Why? Tell me secret.
Both presidents.
What?
Both sides.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Did they want you to do some like promo or something? Like what's
both sides.
Crazy. Okay. I don't know how much I want to push you on that, but that's insane.
I'll just say both sides.
Okay, I'm speechless. I've never been left speechless. I've been left speechless by Shawn Johnson East right now. Okay, we're gonna spin it again. That's actually crazy.
Strange day.
What was your reaction? Were you just like, holy shit?
Like, yeah, I was like, what is happening?
That is insane. Okay, we're spinning again.
Run through the questions. TikTok.
Yes. Okay, this is what I want to ask. What's your favorite TikTok you've ever made?
Because it's such real life. Trying to get in my husband's truck. Oh. Where like I get out of the truck and then my husband gets in and I have to drive so close to the steering wheel. He like tries to get in and like falls out.
Yes.
It was just
We're going to insert that in so you guys can see
We just had a lot of fun filming that.
That's funny. I thought you were talking about the one where it was like using your husband to like clean the snow off the car.
Oh, that was fun.
That was hilarious.
Was my husband's idea.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Oh my God.
When you're like dragging the body around.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks too real.
That was fun.
Okay, last one. Okay. I know you got to go.
Safari.
Oh, okay. This is fun. Do you have your phone on you?
Great. Yeah.
What's the last thing you Google searched?
Molluscum.
What is that?
Toddler mom.
What's molluscum?
It's like a viral rash kids can get where it's like these little bumps on their like torso that last years.
Oh God.
Years.
Oh God.
And I'm so like our poor little guy is so tired of it. You can get it from like anything. It just like spreads, but it's just like this little rash and it can last years. And he's had it for 2 years. So I was desperately looking for ways to get rid of it.
Have you found any remedies?
I've heard so many remedies. So we're in the process of starting the first remedy. So we'll see if it goes away.
I mean, that's kind of funny. I mean, not funny that your kid has a rash, but
we need to interview a doctor and be like, how do I do this?
I mean, this makes sense why you're trying to go into like medical field. But that's the game.
Thanks.
Did you have fun?
I loved it.
It was so awesome to get to sit down with Shawn Johnson East today. For more content like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Only on Whistle. Okay, I think that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.